The vendor will be parked outside the Imperioso's camp.
Sean Bean?
Sean Penn.
Yeah, Sean Penn.
Or no, wait, Bean. Yeah,
I don't know
sorry.
what Sean Bean is.
I thought you were mispronouncing Penn, but
In
it's Bean.
No, I'm not going to mispronounce Penn. This is a B, not a P.
Well, you mispronounced Sean, so.
I think it's supposed to be Sean Bean.
Well, no, it's Sean. Let me see it.
Well, if it was Sean, it'd be
Let me see what it
S-H-A-W-N.
is. Yeah, that's Sean Bean. It's not Sean Penn.
And the woman Channing Tatum.
What's up, Swits? I'm Old Salty Sean, aka Dalron Talvani, and today we're talking about companions. With High Isle less than a month away, I wanted to do a quick video on some general companion tips and a leveling guide for both the new and old companions. Whether it's one of the new companions, Miri from Blackwood, or Azure forbid you're leveling Bastion,
I'm losing my patience with your itchy fingers.
You do that again, I'm going to come over there and physically assault you with this champagne bomb and break it over your stupid Joker face. You got blood running down your skull.
I've got you covered. But first, we need to have a very serious conversation about whether or not it's actually worth it to do so. So let's talk about what you actually get for bringing a companion up to level 20. For starters, when your companion hits level 20, they'll unlock their ultimate ability. Seems pretty useful, right? Yes, companion abilities are nice utility pieces you have access to, and you get to manually trigger them, which is excellent. However, it's pretty unlikely you'll actually get the chance to use them. At the time of recording, Companion Ultimate Charge resets every single time you use a Way Shrine. Well, that's not the end of the world, but it seems like you'll still be able to use them against world bosses or similar events, right? Well, it also resets upon their death, and while they're good at faking it, companions aren't exactly chess master level AI.
Sometimes my genius is... it's almost frightening.
Since getting both Miri and Bastion to max level at this year's Jester Festival, I've used Miri's ultimate approximately 3 times, generally only against world bosses and only ones without mechanics. Now, to be fair, you can gear your companions to have better ultimate charge, and my Miri is a tank build, which I don't recommend in hindsight. That said, it still seems incredibly rare that you'll ever actually get to use these abilities. So let's take a look at the second unlock that you get, access to the companion's unique passive ability even when they're not with you. Each companion has their own unique buff that they apply to you whenever they're summoned, but if you complete their meta achievement, which the hardest part is definitely getting them to max level, you get an account-wide unlock where the passive is always applied to you, be it in solo content, dungeons, or wherever. Well, that also sounds good, so what's the downside? Well, the abilities themselves leave a lot to be desired. Starting with Best Girl Miri, Miri's expertise gives a flat 30% chance to find extra loot in chests. And next, moving on to Bastion.
You want the truth? The thing I hate most about cheese is that it does terrible things to my digestion.
No, we're not talking about... you shut up! If you interrupt me again, I swear to God, you will be paying for it for a long time.
Bastion's Insight gives you a 30% chance to improve any potions that you find. Well, on paper those both sound pretty good, but after I've unlocked them both, I can pretty definitively say they're not. Miri's isn't bad per se, but it's also not very exciting. The best result is you get some gold or additional vendor trash that earns you a couple extra bucks. Not super insignificant, but also generally not that exciting. Most of the time, however, she'll be giving you green or very, very rarely blue furnishing plans. I don't know the entire loot possibilities, but I have yet to see one that's outside the base game, and thereby they're pretty much worthless. These plans almost always end up getting immediately dumped onto the floor right away, and it's just kind of a nuisance. Bastion's, on the other hand, is suitably very annoying. His Insight will occasionally give random trash potions that you find a second trait. For one, I generally don't use potions that I find on enemies, I make my own, and the odds of getting the buffs that you actually want on these potions is pretty slim. What's frustrating is this means that the new potions don't stack with the old ones, meaning this passive just ends up filling your inventory faster than ever. Each time Bastion decides to improve a potion with a different trait than the other ones, it has to go in its own special inventory slot. I honestly wish I never unlocked Bastions, it just makes things much more annoying for me. The PTS patch notes do show the upcoming bonuses for the 2 new companions so we can get a general feel for how their skills operate. Ember provides Emperor's Intuition, giving you extra gold when pickpocketing, and Isabel gives Isabel's Grace, giving you extra loot whenever you defeat world bosses. Again, on paper, these both sound like nice bonuses to enhance your account, and I hope they're genuinely worth the time investment. It's largely going to come down to what's in the pack for both of these, and hopefully it's worthwhile things and not just more vendor trash. So by now, you have to be asking me, Sean, if you hate companions so much, why are you doing a companion leveling guide video where it's this long in and we still haven't discussed any strats on how to actually level? Well, I actually still love companions despite how much I've complained. They make the game feel more alive with their small comments about pretty dizzying amount of topics, and I think they're a great addition I hope we see continued into the future, even if they're not as well implemented or fleshed out as other games like, say, Star Wars The Old Republic. And there is one significant upside to companions, and that is companion gear. In general, companion gear only drops when you have your companion out, and if it's traded to the right armor type, it can sell for insane values to lunatics obsessed with having best in slot gear. Speaking of gear, that's our first step on talking about companion leveling prep, so let's move right along into it. Same as players, companions have armor and weapon skills based on what they're wearing, so before you start grinding, make sure they're equipped for whatever role you want them to perform. Companions can fulfill similar roles to players, being either a tank, melee stamina damage, range stamina damage, magicka damage, or a healer. Learn from my mistakes, and plan to make your companion either a range damage dealer or a healer. Tanks and melee damage dealers don't have the AI required to survive in world boss fights. Honestly, the range companions don't either, but they're more likely to survive longer than the melee boys. When it comes to acquiring the gear, you can acquire basic white quality gear for your companions from various vendors, but you can very easily buy high quality gear with traits that you want from various players. As mentioned previously, purple gear is insanely overpriced for what it does, just because it's likely to stay best in slot forever. But blue gear in the right trait is very appropriately priced. And if you still can't afford that, green traded gear is almost given away for free. That said, now is likely the best time to buy gear before High Isle drops, as I expect prices will rocket up again when everyone is trying to equip their new companions, so get ahead of the curve and get the full set you want now while demand is still low. For a quick perspective of just how much you don't need your companions in purple gear, let's go ahead and compare blue and purple companion gear with the aggressive trait. The difference between full purple and full blue gear is approximately 2.6% extra DPS versus several million gold. When you consider just how little companions do, just save yourself the headache and buy blue gear. I severely regret getting excited when I found a best in slot tank piece for Miri and equipped it to her right away in my excitement before thinking about it. So now that we're all geared, what actually counts towards companion experience? Well, companions only get experience from combat, meaning no quest XP, no exploration XP, etc. So that means we're going to have to grind, and we're going to have to grind hard. To make the grind as easy as possible, we're going to pop some of those 150% experience scrolls that I know you guys have been hoarding since the daily login rewards. And I know this isn't what anyone's going to want to hear right now, but take my sincere advice and wait until there's a double experience event. This does affect companion experience and will dramatically cut down the amount of time you spend doing mind-numbing grinds. I know that's likely frustrating to hear as the Jester's Festival and Anniversary Jubilee only just ended, but there are a ton of these throughout the year, such as the Explorers Celebration, Witches Festival, and New Life Festival. Lastly, if you really want to go try hard with it, the training trait does apply to companion experience. During the time of my first grind, this felt like overkill, but considering we're likely going to see more and more companions added to the game, having a set in the bank for grinding will probably pay off dividends in the future. Next, we need to pick a zone. We're going to be grinding in public dungeons as they provide the best experience in my opinion, but which one to pick? Well, this is a great time to double up on your grind and check out if there's any antiquity leads that you need, either for mythic items or for furniture. For example, I really wanted the Anvil of Old Orsinium for my house, so for our first grind I went out to, appropriately, Old Orsinium to level with Miri and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Assuming the extra experience event that you're waiting for doesn't restrict you to a certain zone, take a look through various antiquity leads and see what you might be able to get from a public dungeon of your choice. Once there, we're going to pop on some funny YouTube on our second monitor and go to work. Oh! That was so sick! That was so... You better clip this combo.
What? They didn't do. They wasn't cool enough for me.
Oh my god, that was...
Oh, that's good.
Oh, I did it too early. Oh no! I just killed it too!
Oh, the potential health!
With double experience from the Jester's Festival and 150% experience scroll, I managed to get Bastion from level 3 to 20 in around 2.5 hours, and that was without any training gear. And that about covers it. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, please consider liking and subscribing, or watching another video from the channel library. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you Lucid for providing the fighting game footage. If you like fighting games at all, check out his channel. I'm in a couple videos on there, and he was kind enough to shout me out on one of his recent videos, so I felt like I should return the favor. On to some real quick AMAs. Wondering if you have any crazy set favorites. I'm still not overly familiar with a lot of the item sets that are in game. I'm still at the point where I primarily run what other people tell me are good. That said, someone told me about Tormentor a little while ago, and I am incredibly tempted to get that up and running. I played a tank Death Knight in WoW for a long time, so two-handed tanking always appealed to me. Tormentor really pushed it over the edge though when I saw how much you can taunt when you charge, which is just awesome. Also a big part of why I love this game, with just kind of the crazy builds you can make. I've also heard a lot of people running Bashadin builds where they just do like shield bash damage. I think that got nerfed a little while ago, but if that's still in the game, I'd like to know because it looks awesome. I've had a lot of people asking what my armor set is, and true to the name, I'm wearing full Telvanni medium armor. It's a pretty old set, but I'm surprised that a lot of people don't know about it, but it looks awesome. Again, I'm really sorry about messing up Impresario last week. I guess my brain just auto-completed while reading the script. I'd say it won't happen again, but we both know that's a lie. But anyway, until we meet again on the plains of Vardenfell, I've been Salty Sean, saying smoke skooma and worship Daedra.
Stand up. There you go. You were dreaming.